Welcome to the Breakthrough Podcast with your host, Reba Hobbs, a podcast motivated to help survivors of trauma to heal and focus on their full potential.
Welcome to another episode of the Breakthrough Podcast. I am your host, Reba, and today I am coming straight to you from my home, and this is a different recording day, but I feel like, you guys know. When I feel like recording, I'm going to record. If I don't feel like it, I'm not. I love that because this is my platform, and I can do what I want. Well, last week, I didn't record. You guys didn't get a recording, but that's on my email list. Thank you for listening. We're trying to grow that. So, if you know anyone that would like to listen to this podcast, please share, like, subscribe. We do not get any, money from this. So, pretty much I'm doing this because it's a blessing and also because it's something that God told me to do. I love doing it. You guys know that. And that's where we at. So, pretty much last week, I took a break from recording, and that wasn't intentional, but I'm glad I did because sometimes recording for a podcast or recording and trying to get your thoughts together, it hinders you a lot when you got a lot going on. So, the week before I say that, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. I had Kim Young going. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. And I hope you guys got something out of it because I personally got something out of it. And I personally share some of my personal things that I'm going through in my testimony. So if you didn't listen, go back and listen. It was a powerful podcast. Please, please, please go like and subscribe and share the Breakthrough Podcast. It's also on YouTube. This is where I'm trying to share it at more to get more advancement and more goal-driven audience over on YouTube. That's what we're going to grow. And so I thank you for this, to listening again to this platform. But I thank you for the podcast. I thank Kim Young again for listening because that was a powerful podcast. I got up some things that I never said to people and I never released. And so it was a powerful podcast, and that to say I had to do what God led me to do and to be transparent. And I'm realizing transparency and accountability is a powerful thing. And I'm realizing that when you're transparent about your own life story, only thing God can do is use you as a vessel for other people. And a lot of times we put on this mask like we got it all together, but we don't. And we're imperfect people. And just because I'm a Christian, yes, I go by Christian, I'm an imperfect person just like the next person. So, with that being said, again, thank you. So, last week, today's podcast is a little twist and turn or whatever. And it's because it's still Love Month, even though last week was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day for the fellow people that celebrate it. And if people don't celebrate it, it's fine. But happy Love Month. I like to use Love Month as an example because a lot of times we don't love on ourselves and we don't give ourselves the necessary acceptance that we need for ourselves. Now, we're going to go back to last week. Last week, I chose not to do a podcast because the week before I had COVID. And because I was out of work, it would have been easier for me to do the podcast. And COVID, the way I had it, it was a little weird, but whatever. And then I take vitamin D, as you guys know. Most people don't probably know I'm vitamin D deficient, so I have to take it for the rest of my life. Well, I lost my pills, and so I can't get another prescription until I go back into the doctor. Well, you guys know with everything that's going on with medical right now, doctor's appointments are booked up. So I got one on the 24th. But with that being said, that means that I get a lot of migraines. I suffer with migraines. I've been suffering with migraines since I'm 39 now. Since I was at least 26, 27, I've been suffering with migraines. So, it's been a while. They come and go, and most of them are due to stress, but sometimes it's due to, I found out a couple of years ago My migraines come strong when I don't have my vitamin D in me. And so I haven't had my vitamin D in me in the last like 2 weeks. I can get over the counter vitamin D, but it's not as powerful and strong as the regular. It still won't do anything for me because I was actually taking vitamin D over the counter before they prescribed me vitamin D and said that over the counter is not enough for what I need. My numbers are really, really low. So, make a long story short, I woke up last week at my normal time, which is 4, and I just couldn't shake this headache. I've been having the headaches on and off for the last almost 2 weeks, so I couldn't shake the headache. So I was just saying I can't give anything. So I decided to not do the podcast. A lot of times I will decide not to do the podcast because, again, this is my platform and I choose what, when, and what I want and don't want to do. I am conforming to trying to learn a lot of things myself because, let's be real, it's a recession and money is tight right now for everyone. So me learning a lot of things myself, I have to do a lot of things on my own. So with that being said, I had a friend that I offended from a comment that a tag that I posted. I didn't post it, but I tagged the person in it, an old friend. And he's a friend of my sister's, but it's kind of like a childhood friend or whatever. And I woke up that morning and he posted me saying that he was offended by something I said. Now I'm talking about this because it's actually perfect because what I was going to talk about last week, it actually tied in. So thank God. Social media is a platform that is freely used, but at the same time, we really don't have freedom of speech. If you think so, then whatever. But social media is a platform that we use, and you can tag people, and you can, you know what you can do or whatever. But you could put a post up about someone too, and everybody could read it, or you could just tag someone in the name. What I did was I tagged a person's name. It was supposed to be a joke, but he didn't take it as a joke, and that's fine. Make a long story short, when I seen the post and he wrote the post, it was pretty much when you post it on your wall and it tags the person, it goes on that wall too. So I went back and I commented and I said, brother, something to this effect. Didn't mean it like that. I apologized immediately because if you don't mean to, this is another thing. If you don't mean to offend someone, you still got to apologize because even though it didn't come off that way or whatever, he was offended. So I'm just wondering, like, why he's so offended or whatever. What I said, it wasn't really, I didn't say anything, but I apologized and I said, love you. And it was something about weight. And I said, love yourself regardless of whatever nobody say, big or small, still love you. Apologize if you took an offense. But I also went on his personal message. And I was reading personal messages we had over the years with each other. And I'm like, we're pretty much close, so we can talk about anything. So I posted him. I messaged him and I said, this post could have been told to me in a message just like this. You didn't have to post it. I didn't mean nothing by it. I love you the way you are. I just know that you say a lot of things about your weight and other stuff, so I tagged you in and put in a post or whatever. And he ended up apologizing, saying he was sorry. He didn't mean, he shouldn't post to me. You're right. I should have told you and everything else. And it was about other people, and he's tired of other people talking about him and blah, 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 personal stuff. But that led me to remember what I was going to talk about. Loving you, okay? When you get to a point in life and everything you've been through, and I'm going to go through my own personal story because, I am a storyteller. Everything that I've been through, because we're not going to talk vague. From childhood to now, to 39 years. I have no problem saying my age because I am a beautiful black woman and I love getting older. Age comes wisdom. For some of us. Whatever. For 39 years, I have things, and just like you have things that's put inside of you. You have thoughts. You have things that people say. You have, and that's where a lot of your self-issue, self-esteem things come from. It gets to a point in my life where it's either I had to accept what I was hearing, I had to reevaluate, or I had to like I am, go to therapy, get help, understand who I am, understand why the way I was created, everything like that. It's like this. When I was a teenager, I say, and up until a young adult, I had a lot of anger issues. A lot. People, I used to didn't curse. And, you know, I'm telling you now, this is an open transparency podcast. So if you don't like it, leave. But I used to didn't curse or whatever. And as I got older, I started cursing. I was very quiet as a kid. I was very quiet and mild-mannered. People would just walk over me. And I used to let people just say whatever. And I just was so timid, I wouldn't say anything. But a young adult, older Reba, Reba became very verbal when she became into her own. And I became very verbal. I became very insulting. I became very, say it like it is, transparent. Now, part of that is still me. And I have a point to saying this. But I had to learn that, one, that person didn't hurt you, so you're taking out whatever you're going through on that person. Secondly, I had to learn, even if the person did hurt you, it's a way to say you hurt me without being so insulting. And if you know me, my tongue cuts like a knife, okay? I cut you in 3 seconds with my tongue, which is not something that I was proud about in the past. I'm not proud about now. I don't do it now, and I work hard to try not to do it. I'll say that, because I still fall, I still stumble like everybody else. So, but all that has to do with me not loving who I was. Let's be real. When I've been in therapy on and off since I had my son about 25. And there's different forms of therapy, as you guys know, and I explained that before. But I've been in therapy since I was 25. This therapy I'm doing right now, I'm dealing with who I am now, why I am the way I am, and the past trauma of me, and how it could form me to be who I am. I talk a lot about my past relationships. I talk about a lot of my past abuse. I talk a lot about on this platform and also in therapy. But I also understand that just because I went through those circumstances, that's not who I am. Just because I had bad experiences doesn't define me. Okay? And it goes back to talking to the young man. And through the message, I started encouraging him and everything else. Because, you know, that's the coach in me. I had to go and it's like automatically I go into coaching mode when I hear a trigger. Okay? But if you don't know who you are, you will let anybody and everybody say anything to you and it'll attack you. Kind of found out on the message, it wasn't nothing really about me. He just used me as a pain point to get to his audience that was really talking about him. So I was the you could say the camel, the broom that broke the camel's back, or the trigger, or whatever it was. I was the trigger for him. So by me being the trigger, it was just like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm going off. Which is fine. Certain things, I'm glad that it was me, because me and him could never came to the revelation that we came to in the message for me to start talking to him, consoling him, and giving him the wisdom and the confidence to love who he is, regardless if he's big, small, medium, whatever. We have this whole thing where we have to look a certain way. I personally, 2-3 years ago, hated the way I looked. I would never take no body pictures. A lot of people didn't know that. I just take facial pictures. I had a double chin. Before I lost the weight, I was unhappy. I was unhappy with my weight. And with me, stress makes me lose weight. But at the same time, around that time, this was not just me being unhappy mental, but I was unhappy physical because COVID weight, whatever you want to call it, whatever I was working, stress, all that stuff. I just had this extra weight that I just didn't like. I had a knee problem at the time. I was going through physical therapy because I'm short. I'm 5'2", so any extra weight on me is gonna affect my body, and my knee was messing up, and everything else. I was so unhappy with myself. But after I lost the weight and I started seeing the weight coming off, and I started being more disciplined in my weight loss, and I started being more disciplined in what I wanted to do for myself, I started loving who I was. But even if I didn't lose that weight, I had to learn, and I'm still learning, to love who I am. This woman that I am, I'm in love with her now. You can't tell me nothing. And it's not a cocky, it's a confidence. It's a difference. It's meaning you can't tell me nothing to the point of fact I won't believe everything that you say about me, because that's just not who I am. If you know me from my past and you use anything from my past against me, that's not who I am. If you know me just because we're close and we're personal and you say, oh, Reba used to do this, but that's not who I am. We need to stop going by other people's labels. What I told the young man, if he's considering weight loss, be patient with yourself. Weight loss is not something that is like going to rapidly come overnight. It took me a year to get those 52 pounds off. Now I'm at the point where I'm trying to tone the rest of the fat or lose or whatever you want to call it. But I'm happy. I don't see the rolls and I don't see, you know what I'm saying, me lagging and stuff like that. I'm still trying to get rid of the dimples and pimples and whatever else. But I still love who I am. Someone can't come and tell me, oh my God, you're fat. Okay. I may be still a little overweight for my age and my size. Well, for my size, technically. But I still love who I am. Be confident in who you are, no matter who says what, and have patience with yourself on who you are. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? You can't be whole for somebody else and you don't love yourself. I'm sorry, I went through that. You can't be all in all for someone and you're depleted. I do that a lot. I get on this platform and I promise you guys, there have been times, like I said before, I've cried. Literally just finished crying. Maybe the night before, maybe that morning. And I get on this platform and give you the best I got. Because I have to do what I have to do and what I said I was going to do. But at the same time, I push through my pain. And through my pain comes healing. If you don't love you, you can't love anybody else. That means your children. That means your spouse, your significant other, your parents, your family. You will look in the mirror and you will hate everything about you. I literally hated everything about me when I looked in the mirror. Didn't like my hair. Didn't like my chin. Didn't like my skin. Didn't like my acne. Didn't like my dimples. Didn't like my pimples. Didn't like my bumps. Didn't like my dumps. I didn't like nothing. I never told nobody that. My husband didn't even know that at that time. He knew I wanted to lose weight, but he didn't know I was like very at a low place of feeling low about myself. I looked at myself as someone that couldn't be who I am now. And I promise you, this time of healing, this time of transparency, this time of going through and being confident in who I am, nobody can tell me nothing. And that's why I go back to say nobody can tell me nothing. I go back to say that because I have confidence in who God created me to be. I love who she is. I am still working on me. So I'm being patient with myself. I am still working on my patience, period, with my kids. My kids get the most triggers and trauma from me that you guys don't see because they're the closest people to me right now. I go through a lot of healing and rebuilding, and that's what I talked about in the last podcast, that I am in my rebuilding stage. God is rebuilding me to be a better woman of Christ, a better mother, and a better future wife, so that I can help you, others, have the breakthrough, the aha moments. This platform is not just for this podcast. This platform is for wherever God has me to go. God is opening doors. I know things are coming. I know blessings are coming. I am getting spiritually attacked a lot right now, and I don't even talk about it right now because at the same time, that's for my book and that's for another podcast. When God wants me to reveal everything that I'm going through right now, you guys will know about it. Spiritually, because I am a Christian, I know it's spiritual attacks than just it's regular. Because the devil don't want me to do what I'm doing right now. He don't want me to succeed. He don't want me. He wants me to give up. He wants me to let my faith fail in God. Why you wasn't there for me? You know this was happening. You know what's happening. You know what's happening. And trust me, it's hard. It's times I be like, God, okay. I think I woke up yesterday morning yelling at God. I do. Now you know this is. Hey, me and God talk like that because He's my Father. He knows everything. And He brought me out of things before. If He did it before, He can do it again. Okay? So my spiritual attacks that I'm going through right now does not stop me from doing this podcast, doing my coaching. I just moved my coaching classes to my house. I have my students doing the book, the Purpose Driven Life book that I told you guys I'm reading. I'm rereading for the 4th time. I have my students doing the book. I have a purpose and a plan. Until God gets ready to take me home, I'm still going to do what He has to do. But in that time frame, I have to love on myself. I have to tell myself every day, no matter what you're going through, God is there. I have to tell myself every day, no matter what you're facing, you are great. Don't compare yourself to other people. Your platform and your due diligence will pay off. And it will. I do this because I love doing it. It don't feel like work. Even my job that I have right now doesn't feel like work. I probably have the easiest job in the world. And my bosses, I know it's nothing by God that I have this job. I know it's nothing by God that God put me in this career path and what I'm doing right now, and it's lining up what I'm doing. So even though I'm going through a lot of things right now, spiritually and physically and mentally, I know that certain times I have to look back and say thank you regardless. I made tea this morning. I said thank you for this tea because it was so good. I did. Thank you for that. I got another breath. You chose to give me breath today. Thank you for that. I do have a home to be in. It's not exactly what I wanted. Thank you that my children are healthy and we're not in hospital beds. Nobody's having cancer. Nobody's getting diagnosed with cancer. Thank you for that I could get up and start my car. I could walk, I could talk, I could turn on lights. We take a lot of things for granted when we just focus on the negative. I am there. I've been there. Trust me. And I'm working on, as I'm going through this transparency and this healing, I'm taking you guys on this journey with me. This is not something I just arrived. This is something I'm revealing and that I'm accomplishing and that I'm doing because I know where God has me to be. If you love yourself, you can love others. I want to read, of course, I'm going to leave with a scripture because I want to read, of course, 1 Corinthians 13 and 4, okay? And I want to use what I just heard yesterday. When I read this, I'm going to read it the regular way. Then I'm going to read it the way that you're supposed to read it to love yourself. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Now, this is the way I want you to read it. Reba is patient. Reba is kind. Reba is not envious. Reba does not boast. She is not proud. She did not dishonor others. She is not self-seeking. She is not easily angered. She keeps no records of wrong. She does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. She always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Reba never fails. Whatever your name is and you're listening to it, read that the way you need to read it, with the words, with your name. And I promise you, you will have the confidence you need to have about how to love yourself again and again and again. I love who I am now. I love this woman that I'm giving you guys. I love this woman that God is creating me to be. It doesn't stop here. I love that I'm not the person I was a year and 3 months ago. I love who I am now. I love that I ain't the person I was 6 months ago. Whew, Lord. It's still a work in progress. But I want to leave you with you. Love yourself. That is today's podcast. I see you guys next week. And I love you. Please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to people, please. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Breakthrough Podcast. To learn more about Reba Hobbs, please visit Instagram and Facebook at The Breakthrough Coach Online and also youtube.com at The Breakthrough Podcast. You can also visit www.rebabell.com for breakthrough coaching or merchandise. Also, please visit and join the Facebook community support at facebook.com/domestic survivors only. Tune in next time for another episode of the Breakthrough Podcast with Reba Hobbs. Thank you for joining us.